Hello and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Well, it is lecture 7 of Indian governance and the date is 1st August 2025. And today's topic would be National Human Rights Commission. Well, before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give the brief introduction about this initiative which we had started from 2nd June 2025. The name of the initiative is Target IAS 2026. Under this initiative, we had promised you that by every day we are going to upload 2 videos, one in the morning session in which we will discuss the current affairs, and second in the evening session where we will discuss the static syllabus. In the morning session, we take up the most important articles from the newspapers, we break them down and we discuss them. We try to relate them with your prelims preparation as well as mains preparation. And in the evening session, we had here, we discuss your static syllabus, and we started with Indian polity, which we had already completed. For that, you can check our YouTube channel, which is this channel, and go to the playlists. There you would find Indian polity classes. There are 30 lectures for Indian polity, where we had discussed everything what is required for you to clear the exam, to clear the questions with respect to Indian polity. And now we are discussing the Indian governance, and as you can see, it is the 7th lecture of governance, and today's topic would be National Human Rights Commission. And again, I would like to mention one thing here, that as we had promised you that by the month of January 2026 we are going to complete your full syllabus, whatever would be required for you to clear the exam, that would be covered here. But there is only one exception, and that is of the optional subjects which will not be covered here. So if you want to be the part of this initiative, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from it, and also do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. And one more thing, as we are delivering these lectures, at the same time we are preparing your notes, and these notes are written in a very different way. We had brought after every topic we had discussed in these notes, we had brought a possible prelims as well as mains questions, so that it will show you how important these topics are and you won't miss any. If you want to get access to these notes, just mail us and you will be told to pay 200 rupees, which is the only revenue which we can generate if you want us to help go through our notes, and it will eventually help you, because we had brought everything what is required for you to clear the exam. So if you want to get it, do mail us and you would be told to pay 200 rupees, then you can get it. It is totally up to your discretion, and rest it is totally free here. Please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends, and please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Now without any delay, let's start our discussion from the topic which we had brought today, here, which is the National Human Rights Commission. As you would have followed my lectures, which I believe, if there is any who is continuously watching my lectures here, that we started with the governance. Let me again try to give you the little recap of what we had discussed so far. We started with the governance. We tried, we discussed what governance is. We tried to establish various definitions of the governance. And when we started the governance part, I told you that there is nothing which can be concrete about governance. For example, if we will talk about with respect to your examination, there is no book which we can say it is concrete about your course. So what you should depend on, mostly you should depend on the notes which I will give you, or if you have any else, that's fine, that's also fine. And also, the course, if you look at the governance as a whole, you have to go through the statutory organizations, you have to go through the statutory commissions, and there are huge number of such commissions, and if we will go through everyone, then it will take us full year to cover the governance, and still we cannot cover it properly. So what is the intelligent way to deal with this part of your syllabus? The most intelligent way is to look at the current affairs, the commissions which are in news, we will go through that. What are the topics which are news, we will go through that, and whatever is static, we will go through that, and which we had already discussed that part. Now from today we will discuss the statutory commissions, and we will start with the National Human Rights Commission, and if the time permits, we will also discuss we will discuss UPSC, which we had not discussed yet, and also State Public Service Commission. We will discuss the Union Public Service Commission and State Public Service Commission. Basically, they are the constitutional bodies which we had not discussed so far. We will also discuss them. Rest of the constitutional bodies we had discussed in the Indian polity classes. So the whole concept of this is to give you everything what is important to clear the exam. Now, what we discussed so far in the governance, first we established the definition, then we discussed the aspects. We saw that transparency, with respect that we discussed right to information. We also discussed the Official Secrets Act. We discussed the Whistleblowers Protection Act. Then we discussed various commissions in that. After that we discussed the accountability. We discussed various acts with respect to accountability. Then finally we discussed in our yesterday's class what we had not discussed during Indian polity, and which I believe the CAG is basically related to governance. We discussed CAG in our yesterday's class. So today we will start with the National Human Rights Commission. So without any delay now, let's start it. Let's be very much precise with respect to it. Let us see what does National Human Rights Commission, what it is all about. Well, it was established, National Human Rights Commission, it was established in the year 1993. Why it was established? Because it was established in agreement with the Paris Principles adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. Actually, in the year 1993, the United Nations General Assembly, they adopted the Paris Principles. What they adopted? Paris Principles. And the major goal of this Paris Principle was that there should be the independent institution which will take care of the human rights of the countries, of these special countries, of these particular countries. They will take care of that. That would be independent. It would be financed independently. There would be diversity, and that we will see. We'll see what these Paris Principles talk about. So in the line of the Paris Principles, we enacted a law. What was that law? In 1993, it was the Protection of Human Rights Act. It was Protection of Human Rights Act. In 1993, we enacted this law, and under this law, this act provides for three things. What are these three things? First, it provides for there should be the National Human Rights Commission. There should be the National Human Rights Commission. Second, there should be the State Human Rights Commission, and then the third, there should be Human Rights Court. There should be Human Rights courts. Did we discuss the Human Rights courts? Indeed we had discussed in a way. Who are these Human Rights courts? It is the governor of a state. It is the governor of a state with the Chief Justice of High Court. They will decide. They will designate any district court as the Human Rights Court. They will designate any district court as the Human Rights Court. It is up to the governor and the Chief Justice of that High Court. They will designate any court as the Human Rights Court. Now, this is what the Act gives us. We are here. What we have to discuss? We have to discuss the National Human Rights Commission. Well, to understand the National Human Rights Commission, why it was adopted? It was adopted because of the Paris Principles, which were adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1993. Now, what is this Paris Principles? That we will see, we will discuss after some time. First, we will see, about the National Human Rights Commission, how it came. Is it the Constitution which talks about? Is it the constitutional body? No, it is not a constitutional body, but it was enacted by an law. But it was enacted by an act of the Parliament, and that's why it is a statutory body. And what was that act? It is the Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993. And what does this, now we are discussing this act. What does this act provide for? It provides for that there should be the National Human Rights Commission, there should be the State Human Rights Commission, and there should be the Human Rights Court. What is this Human Rights Court? It is the governor and the Chief Justice of High Court. They will designate any district court as the Human Rights Court. So far I guess everything is very much clear. Now let's see what is this NHRC, what is this National Human Rights Commission. First we will discuss what is the composition of National Human Rights Commission. Let me rub it first. The composition of the National Human Rights Commission, it consists of the chairman. First it will consist of a chairman. Then it will consist of a one judge of Supreme Court or the High Court. Then one judge of the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice of High Court. Then it will consist of three more members. Of these three more members, one should be woman. And also these are it is permanent members, these are its members. What first chairman, who will be the chairman prior to 2019, that we will discuss. After 2019 amendment, who will be the chairman? He may be the retired chief justice of India or the retired judge of the Supreme Court. He will be the retired chief justice of India or retired judge of the Supreme Court. What was the situation prior to 2019? It was only retired chief justice of India. Prior to 2019, it was only retired chief justice of India, and post 2019, post amendment, the retired Supreme Court judge can also be its chairman. And this is also one of the controversy related to National Human Rights Commission. And what are its ex officio members? It has something called ex officio members. You would have discussed about the various commissions, constitutional commissions. For example, there is something called National Commission for Scheduled Castes, National Commission for Scheduled Castes. Then there is something called National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. There is something called National Commission for Women. There is something called National Commission for Minorities. There is something called National Commission for Protection of Children. There is something called National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. So all the chairmen, these commissions, all their chairmen will be automatically the members, the ex officio members of the National Human Rights Commission. So this is the composition of the National Human Rights Commission. What is the composition? It will consist of the chairman, it will consist of one judge of the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice of High Court, and it will consist of 3 members, of which one should be the woman. And what about the ex officio members? It will consist of the chairpersons of the National Commission for Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe, Women and Minorities, with the protection for children and persons with disabilities. So these would consist of the ex officio members and the members of this National Human Rights Commission. So now let's try to find out what does the act talk about. First we will see what was the original act about, and what are the amendments which were brought in. So in 1993, what did it look like? First, what did the original act look like? Original act. What did it look like? First we will see chairman and members, how long they can hold the office. They can hold office for earlier 5 years or 70 years, whichever is earlier. Earlier this was before 2019, they can hold office for 5 years or 70 years, whichever is earlier. Post 2019 or in 2019, it was changed. And what was the made? How it was changed? It would be only 3 years or 70 years, whichever is earlier. So the time was reduced. How long they can hold the office, this time was reduced. Then second, the procedure for reappointment is there. Can they be reappointed? Originally, yes, they can be reappointed. Now, yes, they can be reappointed, but the conditions are different. Originally, they can be reappointed for 5 years. Now they can be reappointed till the government decides. What the government decides, for how long government wants them to be reappointed, it is up to the government how long they will decide. So this is also one of the drawback related to it, because when you are reappointed, then it gives the chances that you may be very much lenient towards the government. You may have a closed eye towards the government. There should be, this is the argument here, that there should be no scope of the reappointment. Well, it is there, and even the reappointment would have been there. They should have a fixed term, but the government has diluted it. Now it is the government will decide how long they will be there. Now, what is the key function of the National Human Rights Commission? What is the function of the National Human Rights Commission? Let's have a look at it. Function of the National Human Rights Commission. National Human Rights Commission. First function, it has the investigative role. It can investigate. For example, people may approach National Human Rights Commission if their rights are violated, and it can investigate on its own because it has the investigative wing. It has the investigative wing. Unlike, you would had when we discussed Lokpal, Lokpal, when we discussed Lokpal, there we saw that unfortunately the constitution, the constitution provides for it. The law provides for the investigative wing, but the government has not created yet. So similarly, with respect to this, with respect to the National Human Rights Commission, the law provides for the investigative wing, and fortunately it has this investigative wing. If there is any violation of right, if there is any violation of right, any human rights are violated, any person the human rights are violated, then what they will go to the National Human Rights Commission and they will complain there. Then the National Human Rights Commission will ask the specific police station whether you had done this, whether you had committed it. Then the police station, the police involved, they cannot give the false claims, because they know that the National Human Rights Commission, they can investigate itself. So this is one of the advantage it has. This is one of the difference it makes. This is why it has made this so much difference, because it is having this investigative wing. Then second, this is first, it can investigate, and it can investigate matters on the suo motu basis too. For example, if they are reading the newspapers and they will see there is any complaint in the newspaper, they can take up the case on the suo motu. You don't need to go for the complaint. It is fine, you will complain, but if there is no complaint, they can still take up the case. Then the second function of the National Human Rights Commission is that of the advisory role. For example, the government of India, they had brought up various policies, and that those policies are not working. Then they can come up to the government, and they can start giving the advices to them. What wrong they are doing, how they can change it, what can be the good for the people. So in this regard, they have this advisory role. But as we know that whenever there is some advisory role, it is not binding on the government. So it has the investigative role, it has the advisory role. Then third, it has the monitoring role too. It can monitor. For example, if anybody is in the jails, then it can inspect those jails. What is the condition of the people? Are they treated humanly? What is the condition of those accused people? Are they treated humanly? So it has this monetary role too. Then fourth role, what it plays the promotional role. It acts as a promotional. It provides this promotional activities too, so that it can spread the ideas. It can spread the ideas of the constitution. It can spread the rights which are available to the people. It can spread how they can communicate with the courts. It provides these promotional activities too, so that it can educate the people. It can educate those marginalized people who don't have the idea about what rights they have, and how they can how they can achieve their rights, how they can protect themselves, what are the protections given to them. So this is what it does. And also, after all, when it has the investigative role, it investigates into the matters, it advises the government, and what the government will do, it will monitor that. It has the monitoring role. It will look into the various aspects of the governments, and it has the it provides the information. It has the promotional. It provides the promotional activities. It educates the people about their rights and roles. And at the same time, when all this it is giving, finally, what it does, it provides the annual report. And this annual report, it is submitted to the government. And it will highlight what were the what investigations are going on there, where there are the human rights violation, what can be done, what good can be done, how many cases they had solved, and where there is the need of the intervention from the courts, what were the advices they had given to the government, and how government has compiled, how the government has complied with their advices. Similarly, what is happening in various institutes, in jails and in lockups, and similarly various other, how many promotional activities they had done, and how educated people are now with respect that. It will give the annual report, and this would be submitted into the to the government. So this is how these are the roles played by the National Human Rights Commission. Now let's see, even though we have the National Human Rights Commission, now let's see, is it as successful? First we saw that which act, as it is, it came by the statutory act, it came by the act of the Parliament. Then we saw that what that act provides, that act provides for the National Human Rights Commission. It provides for the National Human Rights Commission. Then it provides for the State Human Rights Commission and Human Rights Courts. Then we discussed about the composition of the National Human Rights Commission. Then we discussed, little comparison, what used to be and what changes were made in 2019. Then we saw that what are the functions of the key functions of the National Human Rights Commission. Now let's try to understand how, how good it has been, what has been its positive impact on the society. Let's try to understand that. Its impact on the society, how positive impact it is having on the people of the country. It has a huge positive impact. Tell me how. Now let me explain. There is something called UN Convention Against Torture. What? There is called a UN Convention Against Torture. So that there should not be tortures when any person is under the custody. But has India signed this convention? No, India has not signed it. India has not signed this convention. Does it mean that India can do these tortures? No, this does not mean so. So in this regard, this National Human Rights Commission plays a huge role. For example, there are various such cases. If we look at the loopholes in our judicial system. For example, there is any person, he is he is accused of a rape case. Any person would be there. Then his trials will start at the district court. Then it will go to the if he will be if the crime is proven, then he will appeal. Where he will appeal in the High Court. Then he will go to the Supreme Court. Then he has the review petition, here has the curative petition. Then finally, if the punishment is the death penalty, he will go to the governor or he will go to the president. So this is the story. And in this time period, lot of time gets used. There is a lot of time. Lot of time is secured for him. And this man who has committed this heinous crime is still outside. He may come anytime outside. He may roam in the same society where he has committed those crimes. So in this regard, what people want that he should be killed. For example, in Badlapur, what happened there? 2 young girls were sexually assaulted by their caretaker, and suddenly this caretaker was killed by the police. And what was the reason cited? That he tried to snatch the revolver. And in this regard, when such case came in, the people celebrated it. Why people celebrated it? Because people like these extrajudicial murders. They celebrated because they have lost this trust in the judiciary. They believe that when anybody commits such crime, he can be saved by the politician class. People have this belief that there is a kind of nexus between the executive and the political executive and the permanent executive. There is this kind of nexus. So in this regard, people always celebrate it. But is it really good? This person who has committed such crime, who is accused of such crime, this person can be innocent too, even though the slightest chances are that that person is an innocent, but still he can be the innocent. So what should be, how ideally it should have been treated? Ideally, the law says that the matter should go to the court. The police will only investigate, then matter will go to the court, and courts will decide whether this person has committed the crime or not. This is the ideal way. This is the judicial way. But when the things are not done clearly, then the police goes for the extrajudicial killing, or the mob will take care of him. So with respect to this, we don't have this such convention. We had not signed the UN Convention against tortures. Similarly, we have another example of the Mr. Dubey, who was so-called gangster, and how dramatically the car turned, the police jeep turned. There was an accident, and he tried to run away, and then there were they shot fires on him. So this is alleged that it was the extrajudicial murder. It is alleged that these are the illegal encounters. Encounters can be very much legal. For example, in Jammu and Kashmir, there are there was attack on the Pahalgam. In the Pahalgam there were attacks, and recently those those terrorists were gunned down. So what how it is done, ideally, what when the police will come in, they will speak on the loudspeaker that you are now under our, you are surrounded by us and we are going to, we can kill you, we prefer that you surrender. If they start firing, then they will retaliate and kill that. This is justified. But here in this condition, with respect to Mr. Dubey, whether it was justified or not, that is something different. But there are allegations that it was extrajudicial murder. It was, it was the illegal, they were the illegal encounters. So with respect to this, we don't have any convention like UN Convention Against Torture. So in this regard, the the National Human Rights Commission comes in, and they had issued, these National Human Rights Commission, they had issued certain guidelines. The first guideline is that whenever such crime happens, the first thing, the FIR should be filed. FIR should be filed. The first thing, the FIR should be filed, and then who will do the investigation of it? Not the police who is accused of this crime. It would be some independent authority will do the investigation. Maybe CID will do the investigation. Then this report, then there would be the magisterial inquiry would be there. Magisterial inquiry would be there, and they will they will do this inquiry and submit the report, and finally the action would be taken. And usually you would have seen whenever such, basically you would have you would have watched Gangs of Wasseypur, and there is a famous dialogue that we Indians, I don't want to repeat that dialogue, but we are highly inspired by the Bollywood. So similarly, if we will see the movies, how the extrajudicial crimes happen, how the police deals with that. So with respect to that, and then we see how they are promoted, they are rewarded after doing such activities. So this National Human Rights Commission says that there should be no out of turn promotions or awards to the accused. There should be no out of turn promotions or awards given to the accused until the completion of the inquiry, until the inquiry is completed. Until the inquiry is completed, there should be no out of turn awards or, awards given or promotions given to this person. So in this way, the National Human Rights Commission comes in this space where we had not signed the UN Convention Against Torture, but it still gives the guidelines which are highly respected by everybody. Then we have this National Human Rights Commission. It is the temple for transparency. You can you can electronically file the complaint there, and you can track the complaints where it has reached, what is the procedure, what is the success rate of these claims. It has it in a way, it is very much transparent with respect that you can track your claims, what is the status of those claims. So in this way, it is called the temple of transparency. Then also this National Human Rights Commission, as we discussed, it receives complaints from people, as well as it can do it on the suo motu. For example, it is reading any magazine or any newspaper, and it will see there is any violation of the rights of the people, then it can suo motu come in and take up the case and do the inquiry. Then similarly, the question, as we discussed, it has the advisory role. It gives the advices to the government, and its advice carries a huge weight. Question was asked to the National Human Rights Commission that why there are so many, why there is child labor and child prostitution. What are the reasons for that? And the government has cited that it is the poverty which is the reason for that. But the National Human Rights Commission, it rejected this report in 1998 and 1999, and it said that we should take the different view of it. It is not the poverty which is reason of this sexual assault on children, or it is or the child labor. It is beyond that. They are forced. It may be their caste status. It may be something else, but it is not the poverty alone. So these are some things, some great things which it has done. It, because of its advice carries a huge weight. because of its guidelines, it carries a huge weight, with respect to, especially with respect to extrajudicial murders. So these are some advantages, or some of the success stories of the so these are the some of success stories of the National Human Rights Commission. Now let's have a look at the criticism to the National Human Rights Commission. What are the criticisms to it? you know in When we discussed the functions of the National Human Rights Commission, uh, we discussed there that it has one function, that it spreads awareness about the rights of the people. What are your rights, what are human rights, what are fundamental rights, how you can approach courts if they are denied to you. But is it really successful in doing so? Maybe for the educated class, maybe for you and us, it has been successful because we are reading it, even though we did not saw any advertisement from the Human Rights Commission. But in a way, we are aware of it. But at the basic level, when it comes to the illiterate people, when it comes to the marginalized people, do they have the idea? Has it been successful in contacting those people that these are your rights, this is how you can approach the courts, this is what the Constitution provides you, these are the laws which Constitution provides you. Has it been successful in this regard? The answer to it is big, I don't know, and maybe no. The no can be the answer. So no is the answer to it. It has not been that successful in educating the people what their rights are with respect to that. Similarly, it has huge legal constraints associated with it. It has huge legal constraints associated with it because it lacks financial independence. It lacks financial independence. It may have, even though the law, even though the act which is enacted, it believes in that this National Human Rights Commission, it should be independent. But if we look into the mirror, without finances you cannot be independent, and it is on the mercy of the governments. It is the government which will decide what would be the finances. It does not have the workforce, so it will depend on the government. Government will provide the workforce to it. So this is also one of the drawback to it. And also, if we look at the statement given by the Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer, Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer, who is one of the best judges the India has seen, and his famous statement you would have heard that the bail is the norm and the jail is the exception. He says that the National Human Rights Commission, it is one of the biggest post office of India. He criticizes the National Human Rights Commission and says that it is the biggest post office of India. Biggest post office of India. Why? Because it says that it acts as a post office. Here a complaint will be filed. The National Human Rights Commission, they will transfer complaint to the government, and the government will give the solution, they will answer, and then the National Human Rights Commission, they will transfer this answer to the person who has complained. It does not have the authority to enforce laws. It does not have the authority, even though it can give the guidelines, but the police can easily evade these guidelines and it can do nothing about it. So it does not have this authority. It is, according to the Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer, it is just like a biggest post office of India. Similarly, if we will see when the act was enacted, at that time in 1993, we saw that how, what were the initial, who can be the chairman. It was retired Chief Justice of India only. Now it is retired Chief Justice of India or any or Supreme Court judge, and it is said that it is because of the justice, one of the justice, there was a meeting where he praised, this is the allegation, he praised Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, and after that, according to some allegations, that it was the law was amended. What does it mean? Eventually it means that it is on the mercy of the government too. It is on the mercy of the government too. Similarly, with respect to, in Assam, when NRC was conducted, in Assam, approximately 1.9 million people lost their citizenship. 1.9 million people lost their citizenship, and they were in the detention centers. And the condition of those detention centers were very very provocative. They were very bad, and it is estimated that according to Shashi Tharoor, I don't know where from he got this data. Maybe he would have done research about it. According to him, approximately 50, more than 50 people did suicide there. And with respect to these people, with respect to 1.9 million people, where was the National Human Rights Commission? It was nowhere. It could not do anything with respect to that. That is also one of the drawback, how tied its hands are. Similarly, the justice which I was talking about is Justice Arun Mishra. He said that the PM is the versatile genius, and it is alleged that after that it was amended. So this, in a way, has these are some criticisms with respect to that. Now the question is, who can say that that this National Human Rights Commission of a country, it is free, it is fair, and it is transparent? Who can do that? Who can say it? For that, there is something called Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions. There is something called the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions. And this Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions, what it does, it ranks, it gives different ratings to these National Human Rights Commissions, and whether it would be A or B, on that on the basis of how it is working. Or so this is this organization. Please do note it down: Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions. And this alliance, this Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institution, how they judge, it is basically the Paris Agreement, or we can say the Paris Principles, adopted by the countries. When the countries had created various human rights commissions, how they had adopted the Paris Principles. If they had been adopted in the National Human Rights Commission like we have, then they will give, on that basis they will give the ratings. So it is the Paris Principles. On this basis, these ratings would be given by the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions. So now let us see what were these Paris Principles. First, whenever there would be the Human Rights Commission, it should have the broad mandate. It should have broad mandate based on the human rights norms and standards. Broad mandate based on the human rights norms and standards. Second, it should be the autonomous from the government. It should have its own authority. It should be autonomous. Third, it should be guaranteed by the law or the constitution of the country. Fourth, it should be diverse. It should be represented by different religions. There should be the representation of different religions, different castes, if the country is like India. Then it should have the adequate resources. It should have adequate resources, and it should have adequate powers of investigation, like we have the investigation wing, adequate powers of investigation. These principles were accepted by the different organizations, by the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions, and based on that, with respect to these National Human Rights Commissions, if they follow them, then they will be given the A rating, and if they don't follow it, then they will be given the B rating. So with respect to this, India from 1993, they were continuously getting India from 1990, they were continuously getting the A rating. But unfortunately, in 2023 and 24, we had not got this A rating. And if a country loses this A rating, what will happen to them? If a country loses this A rating, then that National Human Rights Commission can't vote at UN Human Rights Council. Then the National Human Rights Commission, then our National Human Rights Commission can't vote at Human Rights Council. And why we had lost this A rating? It is because that this Global Alliance says that because there is lack of diversity in our National Human Rights Commission, there is opaque appointment process, and it is unable to respond to the claims. It is unable to respond to the claims, and also there are escalating human rights violations in the country. There are escalating human rights violations in the country. Because of these reasons, our National Human Rights Commission, it has lost the A rating. Now what can be the impact of it? If there would be any council, any human rights council, then there we cannot vote. So with respect to this, Dr. J. Shankar, he is dealing with it. So let us see what will happen next year, this year, that is. Let's see what will happen with respect to that. So this is the Paris principles, and these are the accreditations, which are actually these accreditations are given by the subcommittee for accreditation. It is given by the subcommittee for accreditation, and this subcommittee for accreditation, in it there are those countries which had the A plus rating, which have the A rating. So India will also lose this A rating too. So this is what you need to know about the National Human Rights Commission. What else is there? We had discussed it. We had discussed its functions. We had seen, how it has achieved good, especially with respect to the UN Convention on Tortures, with respect to the guidelines it had created, it had given with respect to that. But still at the same time, because lack of power, lack of finances, it is not able to achieve. It has not able to achieve what it should have achieved. So these are some of the drawbacks associated with it. Now what can be the way forward for it? The best way forward, which the people often highlight, that there should be the collaboration between the National Human Rights Commission and the civil services, for civil societies, for example the journalists, the independent journalists I'm talking about, the NGOs, the various other people, activists who want better for the society. As these NGOs, activists, and these journalists, they are really in contact with the people. They know what are their issues, and they can highlight it to National Human Rights Commission, and then National Human Rights Commission can collaborate with them. And it is highlighted that these activists or these civil societies, they can be the receptors and the transmitters for whom they can be receptors and transmitters for the National Human Rights Commission and the people. And also National Human Rights Commission, it is authority that it can intervene in the cases in court. So it should often do that. These are certain amendments and certain changes it should come up with, so that it will make it more efficient. So this is what you need to know about the National Human Rights Commission. I hope everything is very much clear. There is no doubt. If there is any doubt, please do write in the comments. This about governance part, I will again repeat, there is nothing concrete about it. We have to go through the newspapers, whatever is there, we will have to take care of that. And as you know that we in the morning session do the news analysis, and also when your mains exam would be there, next year, we will also cover the organizations which were in the news, so you don't have to take care of that much. And usually the governance part, it is something which is not taught that much in the coaching institutes too, because it is something which is much focused on the notes. If you have the notes for it, that is enough for your preparation and the current affairs. So with this, I hope you had understood it. Now let's move to the another part of our discussion. I thought it would take us a lot of time, but it has not. Now let's move to the another part of our discussion, where we will discuss the civil services. For that, we'll have to look at different articles, and then we'll complete our today's discussion. So let's see what civil services are there. Civil services. What does it include? It includes everything, including police. But what it excludes? It excludes military. So please do remember that it excludes military. So with respect to this civil services, what does it constitute? It can be the civil services. It can be at the central level. It can be central services, it can be the state services, and it can be the all India services. So with respect to this, cutting it short, let's have a look at the Article 315. What does it say? Article 315 of the Indian Constitution. It says that there shall be the Public Service Commission and for the center. There should be the Public Service Commission for the union and one for the state. Article 315 says there shall be the Public Service Commission for center and public service commission for each state. And if there are two states, they want, if any state wants that particular public service commission should also come under, there should be a common state, then the law should be passed by the legislature. It should be, then the legislature, then the legislature will have to request the central government for that. Then the central government will provide this common public service commission for these two states. Then it would be called the joint public service commission. What it will be called? Joint public service commission. Or suppose if the governor wants that for particular state, the things are not going well, so they want UPSC to come in and take care of that particular state, to take care of the services of that particular state. Then then the governor can request the center, and then the center will request the the governor has to request the president. Governor will request president, and then the UPSC will act as the state public service for that particular state. This is what Article 315 says. Article 315, let me repeat again. It says that there shall be the public service commission for union and for state too. And if two or more states, they want that the particular public service commission should be common to them, should be joint, they should have a joint public service commission, then they have to their legislature will have to request the center, then center will provide for that. And also if the governor will request the president for the UPSC to serve the needs of the state as the public service commission, then the governor will request president, and president will provide UPSC for them as a state public service commission. And for the joint public service commission, it will be formed at that time. This joint public service commission, it would be formed by the law of the parliament. It would be the statutory body. Otherwise, for state public service commission and the union public service commission, they are the constitutional bodies. This is what Article 315 says. Now let's move to the Article 316. There we have to look into some articles, and then we will clear it. This is about the union public service commission and the state public service commission and the joint public service commission. This is what we understood in the Article 315. Now let's have a look at Article 316. What does it say? Article 316 talks about the appointment and term of office of the members. It talks about the appointment and term of office of the members. So let's see, what does Article 316 say? Article 316. It says that there should be the chairperson of the commission. There should be the chairperson of commission. For the UPSC, then there will, for the central, it would be the central for the UPSC, it would be chairman. And similarly for the state public service commission, there shall be the chairperson of the commission, and there shall be the members. Is this number of the members decided by the constitution? No, it is not decided by the constitution. It will be decided by the president if it is for the UPSC, and it will be decided by the governor if it is for the state public service commission. And if it is a joint public service commission, then president will decide what would be the number of these members. And about these members, half of these members should be those who had held a government office for 10 years. About these members, half of them should be those officers who had held a government office for 10 years. Half of them should be those members. So this is what Article 316 says. Then what should be the term of office? Term of office, if it is UPSC, it would be 6 years or 65. If it is a state public service commission or the joint state public service commission, then it would be 6 years or 62 years, whatever is earlier. And we don't need to describe what is this, whatever is earlier. Then the third question, who can they resign to? If they want to resign, they can resign. If it is UPSC, then they will resign to president. If it is state public service commission, then they will resign to the office who enacted them, who appointed them, that is governor. And if it is joint public service commission, then it is the president. They will resign to the president. Are they eligible to be reappointed? If it is UPSC, then if they are the members of the UPSC, then they are they they are not eligible. But if they are the members of the State Public Service Commission, for that State Public Service Commission they are not eligible, but for the another State Public Service Commission they are eligible. For example, if there is Tamil Nadu State Public Service Commission, if there was a chairman of that person, that chairman is eligible for other commission, other state, or he is eligible for the UPSC, but not for the same State Public Service Commission. And if there is a UPSC, he is a chairman, he is not eligible for another government post, but he can act as a governor, vice president, or president. He can contest these elections. Or if he is the member of the UPSC, then he can be the chairperson of the State Public Service Commissions of different states. So this is about the appointment and eligibilities. Now we have Article 317, which talks about the removal. Let me rub it first. Article 370 talks about the removal. If it is removal on the basis of the proven misbehavior or incapacity, then the president will remove him, but he has to submit. He has to confirm it with the. He has to refer a matter to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will do the inquiry, and then only he can be removed. If same as the Lokpal, if it is with respect to proven misbehavior and incapacity, if it is misbehavior, then the president can remove him, but for that he has to submit it. He has to refer the matter to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court will do the inquiry, and then the president can remove him. And there are other ways also to remove the member. What are those other ways? He is insolvent, he is bankrupt, he is enjoying the paid employment outside the office, then he can be removed. In the opinion of president, he is unfit to discharge duties of office, then he can be removed. And also he is engaged in a business with the government, where he is the second party, he can also be removed. These are the ways in which he can be removed. This is what Article 317 talks about. Now we have Article 318. Article 318, let's see what does Article 318 talk about. Article 318, it talks about the salaries of the Union Public Service Commission, or the State Public Service Commission, or the Joint Public Service Commission. Once it is decided, it cannot be changed to their disadvantage. This is what Article 318 talks about. Then we have Article 319. Article 319, it says that the chairman of UPSC shall be ineligible for any job of the government under the center and the state. He can be appointed as the governor, he can be appointed as the vice president, and he can be appointed as the president. This is Article 319, which actually Article 319 talks about it. And similarly, the chairman of the Public Service Commission, State Public Service Commission, he can be appointed the chairman of the another State Public Service Commission. It is not the part of, I'm sorry, I mishandled it. Actually, it is not the part of the Article 316. Article 316, it only talks about chairperson of the commission. It talks about the chairman and the members. It talks about holding of the office. It talks about that. It is Article 319 which actually talks about that they cannot hold. The chairman of the UPSC, he cannot he cannot be reappointed for any center or the state, but he can be appointed as the governor or the president or the vice president. Similarly, chairman of the public state civil services, he cannot be reappointed for that public state civil service commission, but for the various other state service commissions or the UPSC, he can be reappointed. Then similarly, we have Article 320. Article 320, it talks about the functions and roles. What is their first function? To conduct free and fair exams for appointment of for the appointment of jobs at the union and the state, with respect for the appointment with respect to the parts of the union and the state list. For example, there is Schedule 7. We have the union list, we have the state list. With respect to that, there are items. What would be the jobs created for that? What would be jobs created for that? That would be done by these commissions. It does not have, also Article 320, it says that it does not have role in the reservation. Then For example, there would be any public officer and there is allegation against there are corruption charges against him, and he will file the complaint with respect to that. Finally he will pay the lawyer, and that once he will be acquitted of that crime, then the UPSC would have to give that money back to him, and the government will have to give this money back to that person. And it is the report of these commissions. Either if it is at the central level, then the UPSC will do the submit the report, and if it's at the state level, then the state civil service state public service commission will submit the report. On those report, on the basis of those reports, this money will be provided back to them. Similarly, if any officer sustains any injuries, then the UPSC and public civil services, they will they will recommend what can be the actions to be taken with respect to that officer. And also this article 320, it provides for the financial independence of these civil servants, that their salaries, pensions, it would be taken from the consolidated fund of India. So with respect to this is what the articles talk about. This is about the Union Public Service Commission and the State Public Service Commission. With this, I hope you had got the basic idea about it. Whatever is required, what else would be required for you, we will bring in we will mention that into the notes. As I told you, governance is that subject for which you should need some basic understanding, and rest you have to read by yourself. And I can say one thing here, that my notes should be sufficient for you to clear any question with respect to governance. And what else would come in the news, that we will definitely discuss. So far, we had discussed everything with respect to the National Human Rights Commission and the and the civil services. What are the civil services at the central level? What are the civil services at the state level? And what are the civil services at the union level? At the joint state civil services. We have discussed everything. With this, I would like to conclude my today's discussion. I hope you had liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. And one more thing, I would again mention that from today, as it is the 1st August, from today you should increase your speed of your preparation. You should not waste your times. You should not waste your times unnecessarily. You should focus. You should increase your focus. These months, this month of August that we mentioned, August, September, October and November, these 4 months will decide. Trust me, if you will study every day 10 hours, the roadmap which I gave you yesterday, if you will follow this roadmap and study for these 4 months continuously without any break, you can enjoy too. But only, there are 24 hours in a day and night. And in those 24 hours, you should have effective reading of 8 hours, which is not a big deal. 8 hours of effective reading, that is fine. And if you will do that continuously, you should be able to crack the exam. And my request to you guys is, please go through it. There are few important things. If you will follow my pattern, what we are doing right now, we had already discussed Indian polity. So what you should do ideally, and governance we are about to complete. Within 3 to 4 classes we are going to complete governance. Mostly till the 5th of August we are going to complete the governance. Then we will take up the history. So when we will discuss history, what you should do. First, spend time in revision. Whatever we discuss, revise it. Maybe first day it will take half an hour, second day it will take, as the classes will go on, time will increase. At the same time, you should focus on history and this Indian polity subject. Focus on these two subjects. Then third subject should be your optional, and the fourth one, look at the CSAT. Not that difficult. You can go through the YouTube channels, and if time permits, I will also bring up the CSAT sessions. Continuously. Here our class is for 1 hour. The 1 hour, mostly 1 hour or 1.5 hours. This is the time period of our class. Give this 1.5 hours. In the news analysis, it is approximately 40 minutes. Calculate together 2 hours mostly. Then for the revision of this 2 hours, give one extra 1 hour, it is 3 hours. Then what we had read, for example, Indian polity, give 2 hours for its revision. Add it is 5 hours. And then CSAT, every day 1 hour and 1 hour revision, 2 hours, it is 7 hours. If you will add 7 hours, and for the optional 2 hours, it will come approximately 9 hours, 9 to 10 hours. This is what you need every day. If you will do this, if you will follow it, trust me, no one can stop you in passing this exam. I can guarantee you. But only thing what you have to do is to cooperate with me. Choose wisely your subjects. Read from the books if you have. If you don't have the books, then consult my notes, and wherever you feel difficulties, you can contact me anytime. It should become easier for you. I hope so. And do practice continuously. Go through your last year question papers. With respect to mains, I would recommend you guys go through last 4 to 5 year question papers and start writing those answers. Practice those answers. This will, UPSC has this trend. They have this trend of continuously asking the same questions. It will open your mind, and you will start to write the good answers. And go through the state civil services, and I would recommend you to go through the question papers of the JKPSC. They are very much near to the UPSC, and go through that, start writing the answers. It should be enough for you. And with respect to the current affairs, that you keep with me, I will do that, I will handle that. With respect to this static syllabus, I will handle that, but your part, you have to write the answers too. So with this, I would conclude my discussion now. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.